2, 4, 6, 8. EQI is really great. 1, 2, 3, 4. Keeps you laughing on the floor. 2, 7, 9, 11, 13, 42. We've got Moose and Tech Rat 2. 4, 3, 2, 1. Scootaloo just dropped a bomb. Yay! You're supposed to stick the landing, Plank. We're never going to get at the equestrian Pokemon games at this rate. Sounds easy, but ponies find it really hard to play a Game Boy with hooves. I'm Joe Stevens, and this is the Equestria Inquirer. Good evening, Ponyville. There is a major safety concern regarding the Crystal Empire being selected as the host of the Equestrian Games. You may be worried about the giant EMP cannon housed within the castle of the Crystal Empire. Safety concerns over its use have been largely discredited, so long as Scootaloo is kept a safe 300-kilometer distance from the Crystal Empire. Plus, scientists are 20% sure it's not causing cancer-spawning radiation that makes a pony glow with a crystal-like sheen. No, it's perfectly safe. The safety concern warns of massive injuries, deaths, and crystallization that has nothing to do with the giant electromagnetic pulse cannon. It's from the happiness of the Crystal Empire. Unreliable and partially blinded sources have confirmed that when the Crystal Empire is filled with happy ponies, it shines with a pure light that radiates across Equestria. This sight-shattering brilliant light has caused several hundred mid-air Pegasi collisions, derailment of dozens of trains, and derpy hooves to deliver pine cones instead of the mail. That was actually a normal occurrence, but Derpy delivered the pine cones to ponies' heads instead of their mailboxes. Falling pine cones hurt really bad. This horrible glare has called into the question the equestrian games being held in the Crystal Empire. With so much light from so many happy crystal ponies, how can the games be held safely? Ponies attending the games will be blinded by the light. They'll be revved up like a deuce, another runner in the night. Madman drummers, bummers, Indians in the summer, with a teenage diplomat all agree that this is not safe conditions for athletes. Now, it may sound in the dumps with the mumps as the adolescent pumps his way into the hat, but take that boulder on your shoulder feeling kinda older and trip this merry-go-round. With this very unpleasant sneezing and wheezing, the convivial should crash to the ground. That's right. In order to prevent being blinded by the light or paying royalties to Bruce Springsteen, the Crystal Ponies must be made unhappy. If the Crystal Ponies are unhappy, then there's less glare to cause injuries, and so efforts have been made to make Crystal Ponies unhappy. Ponies are advised to write letters of insults to the Crystal Ponies. One such letter reads, Dear Crystal Empire, today I learned that you're only to be used as a shameless ploy to make me buy something that really doesn't look worthwhile. Also, your glitter keeps rubbing off on my couch. Your faithful detractor, Zombie Junebug. In addition to insults, ding-dong ditching, and casually remarking that crystal ponies are descendants of chandeliers, Princess Celestia has made efforts to make them unhappy. After all, she controls the sun. She doesn't want another source of light competing for her subjects' affections. Princess Celestia has found that the best way to make crystal ponies unhappy and create a distracting controversy would be to cease and desist all fighting matches. Apparently there is a string of underground fighting matches hosted by paramilitary group Main Team 6. While canceling these fighting matches may have succeeded in making crystal ponies unhappy, it may also have resulted in fighting organizer Tyler Spurden to launch explosive-fueled guerrilla warfare against society. It is rumored that this fighting gives Tyler Spurden a sort of magic, that fighting itself is magic. When we asked Tyler Spurden if fighting is magic, Tyler stated, "You do not talk about fighting is magic." I am Tyler's trademark infringing butthurt. While efforts to curtail the brightness of the Crystal Empire by making its citizens unhappy have been largely successful, there is nothing to be done for when the actual equestrian games occur. There will be simply too much glare for the event to be watchable. So rather than try to make ponies unhappy with so many flares during the games themselves, organizers have hired someone who can control the excess glare. Princess Cadence is proud to welcome the new organizer for the Crystal Empire Equestrian Games, J.J. Abrams. Get your sunglasses, Plank.
The excitement of competition, the spirit of international unity, the opportunity to say another country sucks without sounding like a jerk. The Equestria Games embody everything that makes our global society great and a couple that make it depressing, and condenses it all into 7 thrilling days of watching dreams shatter for your own amusement. Glory, honor, ice skating. The Equestria Games. Be sure to tune in for live coverage coming in March, only from the Equestria Uninterested. How did the Uninterested get coverage rights? Why did they even want them? The Inquirer has been trying to get those for months. Truthy told him it exists or something. I don't know. That's not the point. It's a dark day when you get beaten out by someone in lazy days. You know, the games really aren't that great. There's a lot of rumors of, doping.
With all the celebrations going on in the Crystal Empire, EQI has sent correspondent Ivan to report on the festivities.
Equestria Games coming to Crystal Empire!
Yes, Ivan, I'm sure the celebrations are great.
Ivan doing body shots with ponies.
Body shots? Is that traditional?
No, it's when Pinkie Pie stuffed Crystal Pony into party cannon and was shoot into sky. There goes another one! Shoot Ivan next! Shoot Ivan next!
It seems like every pony's happy.
Oh, very happy.
What are the celebrations going on right now?
I even tell you what not celebration. Traditional hitting head with sledgehammer. I even always celebrate what with celebratory hit on head with sledgehammer. But when Ivan hit Crystal Pony on head with sledgehammer, Crystal Pony shatter into million pieces. I even think this very rude. Ivan get arrested for possible homicide from what shatter Crystal Pony.
Again?
Melt Crystal Pony down into igneous rock, jet cooled and fashioned into Crystal Pony again. Make table for what apologize. Continue celebrations is good for health. Ivan surprisingly good with smelter. Also, Crystal Pony's surprisingly easy to smelt.
Sounds like you're making a lot of friends.
Oh, many friends. In fact, I even make friends what with the Rainbow Dash father during celebration.
You saw Rainbow Dash's father?
Is what I even say. You have hearing problem, Joe Stevens?
What was he like? What did he look like? What's his history?
Ivan ask. Hey, where you go? Oh, Ivan lose him. Was going to ask where it was, but the Rainbow Dash father leave.
Why did he leave?
Pinkie Pie would shoot him out of cannon.
Of course.
Ivan go chase after him now. Is good for him!
Yes, enjoy yourself, Ivan, and someone who is also enjoying himself is TechRat with this week's Mares in a Minute.
Warning. This segment contains dramatic reenactments and material that may be disturbing to some audience members. And hilarious to others! Viewer discretion is advised. When Rarity visited the Crystal Empire to help them secure the Equestrian Games, she did not know that she would end up locked in a life-or-death struggle with Princess Cadence's hair. Known throughout Equestria as the Dead Mare's hairstyle, this incredibly intricate weave, consisting of more than 100 steps, has been known to end the careers of countless stylists. Ponies have lost limbs. Ponies have lost lives. This is a do you don't take lightly. One small mistake could mean curtains for the stylist, and I don't mean pretty flowery ones with matching valances. That day, Rarity found herself struggling to survive against a mass of mane that seemed intent on ending her. Rarity shouldn't be alive. It is officially known as the traditional royal ceremonial headdress, but in the salon industry it is more commonly referred to as the Weave of Doom, the Dead Mare's hairstyle, or simply Benny. Reserved for extremely special occasions, this hairstyle is so complicated it requires a degree in quantum mechanics just to read the instructions. Gazing upon the parchment that holds the more than 100 steps required to complete it would drive most sane ponies mad. However, that is exactly what Ponyville resident Rarity had to do when she offered to perform the hairstyle on Princess Cadence in preparation for the visit from the Equestrian Games advisor. Had she known about the reputation this hairstyle had, and knew about the countless casualties that had come before, perhaps she would have refused. Unfortunately, she agreed to accept the extremely dangerous task, having no idea what she was getting into. Rarity's first mistake was sending all of the other stylists out of the spa. When attempting something that could go disastrously wrong at any moment, the last thing you want to be is alone. As she began making her way through the directions and was able to complete the first few steps successfully, she was lulled into a false sense of security, which in that sort of situation can quickly lead to disaster. Thinking that there was nothing to worry about, she quickened her pace, deftly applying twists, pinches, and braids without paying attention to her place in the list of steps. That is when her mistake occurred, the one that nearly cost her her life. In her haste and thinking it was optional, she skipped step 12. Suddenly she found herself entangled within Cadence's long flowing mane, wrapped tightly within a cocoon of brightly colored hair from which she could not escape. The follicle tendrils encircled her body and wrapped tightly around her face, making breathing difficult and movement nearly impossible. Cadence, having fallen asleep in the stylist chair, could not hear Rarity's muffled cries of distress, so although Rarity was screaming at the top of her lungs that this was the worst possible thing, no one came to her aid. Immediately her mind began racing, trying desperately to think of a way to escape her predicament. The entire time, the hair surrounding her was growing tighter and tighter, threatening to suffocate her completely, or worse, mess up her own gorgeous mane. This thought gave her the determination she needed to redouble her efforts to survive. She began frantically clawing at her hairy tomb, looking for any weakness in the layers. By some miracle, she found a tangle of split ends that seemed to indicate a tiny opening in Cadence's mane. With a strength and determination that only a pony being smothered by hair could muster, Rarity pushed a hoof through the weak point and felt around frantically for an item that she could use to free herself. With her oxygen supply dwindling and her vision blurring, she barely managed to grasp a styling brush and began tearing at Cadence's mane with it, hoping beyond hope that she could loosen the hairy winds enough to get free. At first it seemed to do no good, and for a moment Rarity wondered if her foolish overconfidence in her styling ability would finally be the end of her. But then, miraculously, she began to feel the strands loosen. She redoubled her efforts, brushing at the hair with renewed vigor until she was able to burst her head through the side, taking a huge gasp of life-giving air. With a mighty tug, she pulled herself free of the mane that seemed determined to finish her off. She lay panting on the spa floor, the realization of how close she had come to being done in by a hairstyle slowly dawning on her. Rarity's friends had no idea she had been through such an ordeal. Not wanting to worry them, she had collected herself and resumed styling just moments before they arrived to check on her. Of course, this time she was being much more careful to follow the steps, having learned a very important and nearly deadly lesson. Rarity managed to complete the task, but it almost cost her everything. Rarity shouldn't be alive. Next time on I Shouldn't Be Alive, Pinkie Pie nearly suffocates when a prankster replaces the spa mud with gack.
Thank you, Tech Rat. This just in. Pinkie Pie has been banned from the Equestrian Games for illegal doping. The Games Committee has ruled that using a party cannon and bouncing across the finish line in a hoof race was such a dopey thing to do that it's now illegal. Also banned from the Equestrian Games for being so much of a dope, here is the reanimated corpse of LTT Moose with this week's horseshoes and hand grenades.
Thank you, Joe. Good evening, citizens, and I'm Moose. Yes, that's what they used to call me. LTT Moose. And I come back to you now, at the turn of the tide. Also to bring you this soft news piece about the Crystal Empire. Yes, we all know that the Crystal Empire has its bizarre traditions. Flugelhorns, national anthems that take longer than a day to memorize, jousting without any riders, which, in all honesty, is just ponies stabbing each other, and giant bizarre headdresses. But there's one tradition that outdates and outcrazes them all. I speak, of course, of the practice of never asking a strange pony what their name is. Yes, there's nothing that says we're entirely out of touch with societal norms after 1,000 years of solitude than basing identity off of loosely defined characteristics. You see, the Crystal Empire was originally founded as a prison colony for undesirables, ponies who could not conform to the status quo, or anyone unfortunate enough to overfill Celestia's teacup. Rounding them up was simple. I mean, when you live in a society where your name is indicative of your personality or career choice, names like Quickshank and Slaughterhouse 5 make it pretty easy to round you up and banish you. Now, she couldn't very well banish them to the moon. I mean, that's where Luna was, and that would sort of defeat the purpose of solitary confinement. And she also tried to turn them into stone, just like Discord, but sort of botched that one and only partially crystallized them. This actually had the side effect of overwriting their crime-related cutie marks with generic gemstones, and also slightly changing their hair just a bit, which honestly is the only way you can tell these ponies apart from each other. Now, this actually gave them the opportunity to start fresh, so long as they didn't mention their names. Now, of course, Princess Celestia claimed that was exactly what she was trying to do, just as planned. This is actually how King Sombra managed to rise to power. See, after the previous monarch was forced to resign amid the Barngate scandal, his replacement was to be greeted at the train station. Unfortunately, the real King Sombra happened to share a preference for floral-patterned luggage as Malevolence Nightshade, Destroyer of Hope, who just happened to be on a vacay from the Pit of Despair. Having never actually asked his name, he was quickly sworn into office before the mistake could be rectified, ushering in a multi-generational regime of torture and slavery. This is why you ask for the birth certificate, people. Now, this tradition continues to make trouble for the Empire even after their emergence from 1,000 years of captivity. Last week, at an official Crystal Palace function, two socialites by the names of, well, that's the point, nobody knows, managed to bypass the royal guards by trotting up with confidence. They then chatted with dignitaries, posed for pictures with shining armor, and did the sunshine, sunshine, ladybugs awake dance with cadence. No charges were ever pressed against them because upon closer inspection, the guest list merely listed 150 entries of fancy pony. Now, some of the more progressive-minded ponies claim that this is actually a way of combating prejudice brought on by the naming convention. Who's to say that a pony named Miss Harshwinnie has to be abrasive and callous? Or that a pony with a trophy cutie mark is part of the Equestrian Games Committee? I mean, yeah? What's that? That's exactly what happened? Huh. Alright, lesson learned. Okay, always judge a book by its cover, because that's why they make covers, right? Well, that's all for me tonight, Joe. See, during my little jaunt over to the undiscovered country, I managed to bring something back with me. Japanese Oni. So now I'm going to have to do a battle with him, try to see if I can't send him back to the land of wind and ghosts. Wish me luck. Watashi nakasu desu Yamamoto-san! Osaka Jaku Company!
No, doping, not dorking. I don't even know what dorking is. Thank you, LTT Moose. Here's hoping your wounds heal quickly. While the Crystal Empire is ecstatic that the Equestrian Games are being held in their land, several cities are upset that they lost their bid. Vancouver lost their bid because they couldn't get the torch to work properly. Ponyville because of safety concerns over the gates of Tartarus being so close. And Cloudsdale because they're located 5 miles above the Earth. I don't know why they always act surprised when they lose their bid. Unless they want every other competition to be Catch the Falling Earth Pony, Cloudsdale will never host the Equestrian Games. One city in particular, however, is very upset at the loss. Manhattan had devoted significant resources to attracting the games. Apparently, by giving the inspector the most amazing welcome reception actually hindered their success. In the future, the Manhattan Committee has vowed to dump a bucket of lobsters on top of the inspector's head the next time they're up for the games, because apparently that's the kind of reverse psychology that has won the games for the Crystal Empire. The new slogan for the Manhattan Games will be, Equestrian Games Manhattan. You don't actually want to come here. It kind of smells. Whether it's reverse psychology or just that he actually does kind of smell, here's Mason Alcat with this week's Chomping at the Bit.
Thanks, Joe. The Pony Games have long been recognized for excellence and quality, as it is only held once every 4 years. For every pony involved, it represents the true spirit of pony achievement. Ponies from all over Equestria will gather to compete for the Olympic crown. Among the competitors this year from Ponyville include cyclist Gloria Peddleton, swimmer Snorkel Welps, and the archer Sita B. We are all very excited to see our hometown heroes strive for the crown. There was some controversy that was rooted up this past year. 7-time crown winner Enhanced Legstrong was brought up on doping charges. After many years of the Olympic Fairness team trying to find a reason for his success and after finding nothing to pin him on, finally got the break they were looking for. When one of his teammates, one Tattletale, told investigators that Legstrong was secretly shot up with pink chlorine treatments, which gave him an unfair advantage. With this knowledge, the Olympic panel had no other choice but to strip him of his titles, despite not having any actual proof. Apparently, hearsay was all that was needed to take one's hard-earned victories away and to strike them from the record books. The Olympic Fairness team has promised that they will take up any and all hearsay into account when opening any further investigations in the future, because it is a lot easier than actually testing for possible performance enhancement drugs. On a lighter note, several new games have just been announced for this year. Among the new games include the 50-meter chicken chase, where competitors are forced to chase a fellow pony who is running around like a chicken with their head cut off, the steeple crash, where ponies have to take out as many rails as possible on their way to the finish line, and finally the rainbow dash toss, where the goal is to throw Dashie as far as they can without the aid of her wings. During practice this week, one competitor managed to actually launch her halfway across the kingdom, where she landed on top of a local grooming shop. Some ponies think that this is a bad idea, but our unreliable sources say that Rainbow Dash is okay with being part of the excitement, even if it means she has to be sports equipment to take part in it. We will keep you posted. Back to you, Joe.
Thank you, Mason. Cat, give me those. My sunglasses. I'm sorry, Plank. I'm just really stressed out about all the things that are going on in Ponyville right now. There's crystal ponies, there's danger, there's everywhere. Twilight taught me this way to calm down. Except I don't really want to do that in public. No. So Derpy Hooves taught me a different maneuver to release stress, so I'm going to try it right now. Not stress relieving. Here's Hackalot Spark with the weather. Now that was stress relieving.
Check. 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 Got it. Intern, ready to roll? Excellent. This just in. Ponyville is rebuilding after Saturday's Equestria Games in the Crystal Empire. Unreliable sources have confirmed that some of the competitors' strength was so massive that frisbees, medicine balls, and javelins were thrown so far as to hit Ponyville and injure its residents. Victims included were Berry Punch, Carrot Top, Lyra Heartstrings, and a burning duck with Tourette's. No pony has been killed, and the citizens of the Crystal Empire have agreed to help rebuild Ponyville. The board of directors from Equestria Games released a statement saying, quote, "We apologize for the recent actions of our athletes. However, we will not be paying the damages that our athletes have caused." After hearing this, the citizens of Ponyville were outraged and demanded payment for the damages caused. Long story short, the princesses made the board of directors, as well as the athletes, pay for the damages caused by their recent actions. In other news, Rainbow Dash has been recently slacking on her duties as head weather pony. Unreliable sources have confirmed that she has been stuck at home reading the latest edition of Daring Do. Daring Do in the search for the golden PDA. Huh, good luck getting that. I have that hidden under lock and key and... What's that, intern? She got the security, didn't she? She took the PDA, didn't she? She's selling it on eHay right now, isn't she? Who's the highest bidder? Plank? Joe, you better keep an eye on that man. Back to you.
I feel much better. Thank you, Hackalot Spark. Plank, stop mooning the camera. And be sure to watch live coverage of Las Pegasus Unicon from the Equestria Inquirer. Tune in to Everfree Network during February 22nd through the 24th. We'll have interviews, floor coverage, and shenanigans the likes of which you've never seen. Thanks for watching, every pony, and be sure to turn into Las Pegasus Unicon. I'm Joe Stevens, and this has been the Equestria Inquirer. Good night, and good luck. Okay, fine, you can have the sunglasses back. Your nudity is excessive, Plank.
now! Hoochie Mama!